What's up, folks? Maximilian here, and welcome back to Arcade Stories. Last episode, we were talking a little about the release of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 when it happened in the arcades, and the eventual coming of Killer Instinct. That actually happened before Marvel 2, but it was one of those things that was very important in my arcade history, as Killer Instinct is absolutely one of my most favored fighting game franchises. We're going to switch things up a little bit this time in a story that... actually a very long story that I eventually, through the process of me growing up, took part of that wasn't a fighting game but was very much arcade related. So, let's go back in the day. Let's rewind time to the mid-90s. Arcades were huge. There were still fighting games absolutely everywhere. There was a new racing game from Sega or Namco every other minute. X-Men vs. Street Fighter was playing in the background, and Konami did not exactly have much going on in arcades just yet. This is where things drastically changed in the mid to late 90s. So the Bemani style of games, like the rhythm games that you guys know, didn't happen yet. That's totally standard now. Rhythm games, Rhythm Heaven, all this crazy types of Dance Dance Revolution, drum, beat, soccer, I don't know. Like, this stuff exists now, and it's everywhere. But back in the day, it wasn't. It was actually really hard to find. And one day, I remember watching... It was like Channel 5, local news, and they were at the Santa Monica Pier in the morning, like dead-ass morning. It was foggy as hell, and they had a special article piece about this unique thing, this unique experience taking place in the arcades. And it had all these people, lined up and dancing to this one game, dancing their asses off, and it's just crazy and a lot of movement and all this stuff going on. It's like, what the hell are they playing? Lo and behold, it was the first time I and many other people had seen the game Dance Dance Revolution. This is way before any other version of DDR had ever existed. Way before USA. Way before, I don't even know what the hell they're at now. Like second, third, fourth mix, any of that stuff. This was the original Dance Dance Revolution. You actually needed to know a code to make the game harder. You actually had to input a code into the game to make it more difficult, because there were only the base difficulty and the medium. Anyway, I had not ever seen anything like this before. My place in Santa Monica was still there, the same one you guys are familiar with, and I spent a summer down there. And during this time, I went down to the Santa Monica Pier frequently, and eventually just got a bunch of quarters. I would go early because this was the biggest place to play Dance Dance Revolution, I think, in the world. Besides Japan and stuff like that, because it was big in Japan. But back in the day, with no internet absolutely everywhere, I had no idea what this was, no idea that it even existed, or how big it was in places outside of the U.S. You just didn't know. So I'm like, I want to learn this. One of my things was I just like to be damn good at arcade games. I like to draw a crowd around games. I love to see people watch me play games, and that was one of the most fun things to me in arcades, is to get really good at a game, to draw a crowd. And I did stuff like that with House of the Dead and fighting games and stuff like that. You do really well, and people are like, whoa, he's beating the game, oh my god, and shit like that. It's so much fun. I absolutely love doing that. I love showcasing a game to people, and I really wanted to do this with DDR, so I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea about these Euro pop Technica songs and all this crazy stuff. And I just saved up a bunch of allowance money or yard work I had been doing at home, and I wanted to learn how to play Dance Dance Revolution. The biggest problem, if you guys think back in the day now, this is kind of commonplace now because games have evolved so much and they use so much of your body. Games back in the day were a hand-eye coordination experience. That was it. There was nothing else to games besides your hands and your face, and them linking between each other and making the exact things you want to do. And then Dance Dance Revolution was like, here's your feet, dog, or actually, here's your whole body, dog. You have to do other stuff now. That was weird. That was extremely odd, and linking up the arrows on the screen to me, actually foot down on right pedal, it was confusing. It was really hard to do. And it took a long time to actually get good at Dance Dance Revolution. During this time, though, I was in one of the best places you can possibly get good at, and there were guys down here that would freestyle like crazy. I'm just this 14, 15-year-old kid, and I ride my bike down there every single day, and I lock my bike up because people jack your shit in Santa Monica, and I stay there for hours, and you bring some water or something like that, and all these dudes would show up, all these guys and girls actually would show up and freestyle on this freaking machine. I'm like, Jesus, how the hell did you get so good at this game? And it turned out they had been playing it in a lot of other places too. It's just that the premier place to play was Santa Monica Pier at the time. So they actually taught me. This was one of the experiences in the arcade outside of fighting games where people are actually really nice. And they actually taught me a lot about the game, and I made a lot of friends that day that I have no idea where they went and no idea what their names were anymore. It was a long time ago. Anyway, I learned how to play Dance Dance Revolution. I remember the first and one of the songs that got me so into it. Like, when it comes to me in music, I don't really get attached to certain genres of music. Sure, I like a lot of them, but it's rhythm. It's rhythm and beats, and as long as that beat is just consistent and it's just a good beat and it feels good, I really like it. And for some reason, Butterfly had that effect on me. Like the Butterfly song from DDR, dude, that song was so epically harmonic that I just loved the way it sounded. Even though it kind of sounded like a Chick Barbie song, I was like, it's kind of lame, but at the same time, it makes me freaking bob my head like nuts. And the other one, my absolute favorite Dance Dance Revolution song ever I have played to or even enjoyed, was Boom Boom Dollar.
Money, finding dollar.
Okay. Boom Boom Dollar, just amazing, harmonious, dancing, revolutionary. Dude, I love that song so much. It was so cool. Over the span of like the few weeks I had gone down there, I literally went down there every single day, saved up so much money, and had to ask my parents for money all the time to go play DDR. But they figured I was down there like working out and stuff like that because, dude. Before I go any further, I remember I was riding my bike down there, and then I was playing Dance Dance Revolution for 4 to 5 hours a day, and then riding back home, which was uphill sometimes, and it was about 2 or 3 miles. Dude, I remember one day, like, I was just, in high school, and I wasn't paying attention. I was just having fun playing video games, and freaking leg was like ripped to shit. It looked like something like Arnold Schwarzenegger would have had on his body in the Predator movie. I was like, oh my god. It almost scared the shit out of me. I thought there was something wrong with me at first. It was a little jarring how much into shape those games will get you. Anyway, loved Boom Boom Dollar, loved Butterfly, and those songs really got me into it. And then even like the later harder ones like Paranoia and stuff like that, dude, it was so much fun. And I eventually got to the point where I was good at this type of freestyling stuff with all these other people. And DDR became the newest, coolest damn thing. Like, everybody was trying to get their hands on this game. And I wanted to play more of it. I really wanted to play more songs because I was just like this absolute freaking crazy kid master at all these things. And I was like double perfecting every single song to an accuracy point. I never actually was good at double padding. I always liked the single pad. But then you would do freestyle, and it was just about showing off to people. And oh my god, dude, this one time I had a really good run, and all my choreographed moves that I had in my head went through perfectly, and I turned around, and on the machine next to me, there was a crowd of maybe about 30 to 40 people around me. This is in the front of the Santa Monica Pier, and there's a huge open area where the pier is at because they stuck DDR right in the front because it was the big moneymaker of all arcades. And there were so many heads behind me when I turned around. I was like, oh shit. And literally about 5, 6, 7 people like gave me money. And I'm like, I almost said no at first, but I'm like, but I want to play more video games. So I totally took these people's money. I was like, thank you very much. And literally, it was one of the weirdest experiences I ever had. I don't know if I was exactly comfortable with that or not, but I was like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to get good at an arcade game to the point of which I'm entertaining people around me. And now they're giving me money, and it's super awkward. Thank you guys very much for tuning into another episode of Arcade Stories. You have a unique arcade story yourself, or you'd like to hear something from my past, from some old arcade game that is long gone, go ahead and leave me a comment below. There is a fairly high chance that there is a story sitting in my brain that is just waiting to be told, and it's just waiting for one of you guys to leave a comment to remind me of it. But like I said, once again, thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate the comments, and it's nice reliving the past with all you dudes on the YouTubes. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you guys next time.